So in this video, we're going to create a custom editor for the track class that allows us to add some buttons in here that allows us to trigger the randomize method that we've already implemented. So let's go in the script here, and I'm going to create a new subfolder which I'm going to call editor. And it's very important to name it editor like this, so that the scripts that are in this folder will not be evaluated at runtime. And so whenever you build, every script that is in an editor folder will not be taken along the build and will not generate errors as you use and reference some edit classes. And so in this editor folder, I'm going to go and create a new C# script, which I'm going to call track editor, just like this. And now let's see what we can do. When I get back in here, what you can see is that the in MonoDevelop, you can see that this object track editor is now part of the assembly C# editor here, and not part of the other one. So you can see that it doesn't exist in here, so it's in there, and so it will only be built for use in the editor. So what I want to do here is just add the same namespace like this and like that. And now I'm going to set that this is going to be an editor class, so it's going to inherit from editor, and you can see that editor doesn't exist for a simple reason that I've got to add the using Unity editor. And so now I can just say editor like this. And with an edit class, we also need to add the custom editor attribute here to tell what type of object it can edit. And there we're just going to say that it is meant to edit the track like this. And now we are going to reference a track from within the editor. That's the first thing that we want to do, is that we want to reference the object that the editor is currently editing. So there I'm going to reference a new track, which I'm going to call track. There we have some message methods that we can use, such as onEnable. And so onEnable is going to be triggered whenever we select an object in the editor that displays the data. And then I'm going to say track equals, and then I'll use target. And target is an inherited member of the editor class. Because it's just an object, I'm going to have to cast it back to a track like this. What we can also do is add an override to the method that is called onInspector GUI, like this. And on the inspector GUI, if I just do the override like that, and then I come back in here and now select the track, we can see that we've lost all the data, simply because we're just not showing the data. And so if I want to display the data, I can simply call the base on inspector GUI. And by doing this, I'm calling the inherited member, I'm calling the inherited version of onInspector GUI. And so now I'm going to get the data displayed again. And now what I want to do is to add more features to this. And so to do that, what I want to do is then check if we already have some bits information in the track. So I could just do if track.beats.count equals 0. Then I want to do something, and otherwise I'll probably display a different message and offer different things. And there what I'm going to do is go and add an editor. I'll go and use editor GUI layout to display a help box, and in the help box I'll say that the track is empty, so I'll just say empty track like this, and I'll pass a message type. I'll say message type information like this. And so we can already check this. For example, if I come back in here and now say that I want to put 0, then I've got this information here. It tells me that the track is empty. And so this is one thing. And now what I also want to add here is then say GUI layout button. And then for the people who've already used in the past the old GUI system, it works like the edit classes work very much the same as the old GUI system. So I'm calling this method that is going to display a button and also return the state of the button whenever it is clicked. And so it'll return true when we click on this button. So then I'll just say generate random track. And I'll pass an editor style, and I'll use the mini button style for this. And so this is going to display the button. So if I get back in the editor now, we should see this button, generate random tracks, but it doesn't do anything. It will only do something if I put all this in an if statement like this, and then say what I want to do. And what I want to do is then say track randomize like this. And this is the reason why I've put this method before. I created the method as a public method so that it could be easily accessible from the track editor, because if it were private, then the track editor class could not access it. And so now that I've got this, I can also just simply copy paste this, and there I'm just simply going to change this, and there I'm going to say update random track like that, so that we get a different message. And there we go. So now I've got generate random track. I click on this, and as we can see, the method works pretty well. And we've got all the beats and the random settings at the very bottom. So maybe we want to actually take this differently. But actually, what I really want is not to display all the beats like that. And before I do anything else, what I'm also going to do here is then add something very important, which is editor utility, and I'm going to use the method. It's called set dirty, and I'll pass the track object. And this is very important because whenever you save a project in Unity, when you save a project and go and save not just the scene, but save the project, it saves all the data that it knows it has to save. And if you change something to an object, like such as a data, you've changed data in an object, and you have to tell the editor that this object is now dirty, so it has to be saved whenever you save the project, or whenever you quit the editor. And so now what I also want to do here is then come back in the track object here, and I'm simply going to add an attribute here to say hide in inspector, because I don't want to display the bits information in the inspector, or at least I don't want it to be displayed just like that. So now what I really want to have here is just the playback settings, the random settings, the random generation settings, and then the button. And so what I'm going to do here is then go back in there, and I'm also going to take the uninspected GUI method. I'm going to take it all the way up so that it comes up first. And so what we can see here now is that we've got this button here now. And what I can do here is start displaying the data in a different way. And so to do this, I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to say that I want to have an editor I'm going to use editor GUI layout, and I'm going to use the begin scroll view, and I'm going to begin a scroll view like this, because I don't want all the bits to be displayed in a very long way. So I want to display this within a scroll view. But as we can see, the scroll view expects a vector2 to know its position. So I'm going to have to reference here. I'm going to reference a vector2 that I'm going to call position, like this. And there I'm going to pass the position like that. And now I'm also going to use editor GUI layout again, and there this time I'm going to do the end scroll view like this. And in between, whatever I put in between will be automatically laid out within that scroll view. So I'm going to do a loop, and I'm going to do the loop for integer I equals 0, I being less than the number of beats in the track, so beats.count, like this, and I being incremented every time. I want to display, so I'm going to use editor GUI layout again, and I'm going to use the integer slider. So we have like different ways to display an integer, such as a field or pop it and so on, but I'm just going to use the integer slider. And so the integer slider is asking for a value and a minimum and a maximum value. So there I'm going to say that I want to pass track dot beats and then take the current bit information, and then I'll say that the minimum value is -1 and the maximum value is going to be track dot inputs. And actually this is going to be the class track inputs -1, because it's track dot inputs is a static property, so it's accessible at the class level, not the instance level. And so that's it. I'm just going to do this like that. And if I get back in the inspector, then I get to see within a scroll view all the information. What we can actually notice though is that the scroll view is not scrollable, and it's not scrollable because we tell it to display a scroll view, giving it a position, but we never assign this back. So, and this is the way that most of the editor widgets will work, is that they allow you to display a scroll view given a position, and then it also returns the new position. So we can just simply update it like that. And as we're at it, what we can also do is then say that we can now edit the randomly generated data by doing this. We'll simply say that we display the value, but if the slider changes, then we update the value as well. And if I do this, then not only I can now scroll in here, but I can also update and change the value if I want it, like this. And so to finish this, what I'm also going to do here is then add some other decoration to potentially filter the information. So I'm also going to add a new bool value, which I'm going to call display beats data, like that. And in there, we only want to do all this if we have some information, because otherwise, if we don't have any information, it doesn't make any sense to try to display it. And so I'm going to do something like this. If we want to display the data, then I'm going to get into this. And now I'm going to add another widget, which is editor GUI layout, and it's called fold out. And we pass it the value, and we pass it simply the name. So I'll just say display beats, like this. and of course I'll update the value. So it displays the value and it updates the value if we click on it, and then we say if this is true, then we display the rest of the UI. So I'm going to save this and come back in the editor, and now what we can see here is that we have a nice fold out that allows us to display or not display the beats like this, and I can update the tracks. And so I could for example now go and create a new track to test this, and what we can see now here, oh, that's interesting. What do we see here is that yeah, of course, whenever we create for the first few frames that we just created this object, then this list has not been initialized yet. So the inspector is trying to access the property, the number, the count property of that list, but the list has not been initialized yet. So what we can do here is then say track, if track dot beats doesn't equal null, and the count is 0. And otherwise, actually, we'll just do something else. We'll just do if this is null, then we return like this. That's even easier and safer. We display the base on inspector GUI, and if it's not initialized, then we just exit the method. And so let's try this again. I'm going to get rid of this and do it again to make sure. I'm just going to clear this and go and create a new track, and there we go, it all works. So, and I'm going to call this 90 BPM like that, and change this value here like this, and there we can see that the track is empty, and then we can just go and say generate random track. Okay, so that's it for the model for now. In the next videos, we're going to start working on the track view.